Well, hello and welcome to the Bumper to Bumper podcast. I'm Dave Riccio, co-creator of Bumper to Bumper Radio and your host of the Bumper to Bumper podcast. Normally, I've got John Riggle on with me, my co-host, but today I've got Spencer Doucet with H I Automotive here with me, and I thought we would talk about how the heck you got into the auto repair business, how you ended up owning 3 shops, and when you were in high school and the automotive people came in to promote the automotive business, you laughed at them.
I 100% did. It's such a vivid story looking back at where I came from and how I got where I'm at. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would A, be a mechanic, C, own 3 shops.
Right. So you said mechanic. Is it mechanic or is it technician?
Well, I'm a technician now, but you got to start somewhere, and it's definitely being a mechanic was the start.
Was the beginning of the game. Okay, so you graduated high school, and the reason it's a great topic is a lot of kids out there that are thinking, hey, I might want to go into automotive repair, or maybe they haven't considered automotive repair. But as you and I know, it is becoming a better and better profession in the sense that it's much more needed. We used to be kind of low technician, mechanic, technician. It's a great career to pay your bills and support your family and have a good life. But it is maybe something someone's not considered, and you weren't considering it for sure. And it's interesting. You did get into it. You started as a lube tech, and you were 19 years old.
I actually started washing cars at the dealership.
Okay.
And the friends I made there were lube techs, and I'm like, oh, that looks fun. Like way better than washing cars in the wintertime. My hands are cold.
Yeah.
So I washed cars for 3 months, and I went to the boss. I'm like, hey, I want to be a lube tech.
Yeah, right.
Like, that looks way better than what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And they moved me in, and I started changing oil. And in between changing oil, at the time, Toyota had a recall on their 3-liter V6 head gasket.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over and watched the techs, and they're tearing stuff apart. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
And hey, can I help? And in between, guy would pull an engine, put it on engine stand. He's like, yeah, just take all the bolts off. I'm like, all of them? Yeah, just put them in this bucket here.
Right.
Fantastic. I took all the bolts off. I'm like, okay, I'm done. He's like, great. Here's another one I just took out.
Really?
And I went back and changed oil, and I'd come back and I'd tear the engine apart. And that's actually what really got my mind wrapped around automotive, was tearing those engines apart. I'm like, this is fantastic.
And you guys were Toyota was probably doing so many of them at this time. It's not like he didn't know which bolt went in which hole. It's nice to take something apart if you got to put it back together. But in that case, he's doing them all day long. So yeah, go for it.
Probably one a day.
Yeah.
And when the engines came back, because we'd send the block and the heads out to the machine shop, engine came back, and he's like, okay, you got to put it back together. I'm looking at a bucket of bolts.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And we dumped them out, and he showed me how to separate them and match all the light bolts together. Same length, same head, same threads. We put them all together, and then he went through. I was like, okay, you got 8 of these, and you got 2 engine mounts, and each of them have 4 holes. And you got 12 of these, and you got 2 valve covers, and he showed me how to break it down, and that lesson has stuck with me my entire life.
Yeah, you were shown right at that time.
Yeah,
take the time,
right from
set
the
it
get-go. I knew nothing. I didn't know any bad habits. He showed me how to collect them, separate them, and then look at the parts and determine which bolts went where based on how many and what length and what size.
Were you mechanically inclined before that? Did you have any idea?
Honestly, I'm going to say a little bit, but never exercised that part of my brain. I had a bike. I changed my tires. I changed my chain. But taking anything apart, fixing anything, it just wasn't really what I thought about.
I had a 22-year-old kid come in the other day, and his mom was, brought him in, and he had probably 15-year-old Mustang or something, and maybe not quite that old. But you need to get it fixed. And I was asking him, we were driving the car. I said, what do you do for work? He goes, well, I work at Jack in the Box. He wasn't proud of it, right? I said, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to work on cars. I said, have you ever done it before? He goes, no. And so he was intelligent. He spoke well. I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm going to hire this kid. So I called his mom, and we're going to repair his transmission. But once we get past that, I think I'm going to hire him. And he's going to just kind of be my lot guy. He's going to run errands and do this and do that, and we'll kind of work him in. But that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, you can go to the big expensive schools that I've heard of. Did you do the school?
I did not do school.
Mm-hmm.
I learned hands-on, and I learned from the right people, and it clicked with me.
Uh-huh.
I'm one of those guys, you show me once, you don't show me twice.
Right.
But I've had young kids come in, and it's definitely a different world, and they have a different mindset. So I actually have one that my partner wants me to interview right now. That's 19. He wants to be a lube tech, and it's starting them low.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to start out as an A tech.
Right.
Oh, I can do anything. Can you?
When you say A-Tech, we've got, and essentially in our business, we've got A-Tech, which is the guy that can diagnose cars, knows the car well. He's got some experience. We've got B-Tech. He's good at maybe changing nuts and bolts, taking things apart, putting them back together. But we got B and a minus, we got B plus, and then we got C-Tech, I guess would be your lube tech. Would that be a fair assessment?
I would go C-Tech, and I'd go one more to a GS, which is general service, which is where I would classify a lube tech at.
Okay.
Definitely someone starting out in the industry, because your famous saying, and I use it all the time, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And I used it yesterday with one of my guys, and everybody thinks they know everything.
Right.
I hired a kid from Discount Tire, and he apprenticed with me, and whatever circumstances in his life at the time, he just couldn't focus on cars.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tell you once, tell you twice, tell you 3 times, tell you 4 times. It's like, hey, we've had this conversation 8 times. What's going on?
Right.
Either you're in the wrong headspace or you're in the wrong career.
Mm-hmm.
Because either this industry, and which goes back to the kid you're going to hire, either it clicks and you show that you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to learn. Oh, I want you to teach me. Well, you have to want to learn to be taught.
And that's interesting. And I would say that's something I've known of you. We've known each other probably about, I don't know,
I think
8 years.
Yeah, I was going to say my Gilbert shop's 8 years old, which is when I got into
it's kind of when we met.
Bumper Network. And
Yep. So you when you started out, the thing I realized quickly about you is you always had a beginner's mind. And I think that's something, when you say learn, right? How many times are you telling somebody how to do something and they're talking over the top of you because they want to tell you how much they know?
Yeah.
That's pretty common, right? So a beginner's mind, and the thing I learned, because I always gravitated to people that knew stuff, had experience, and I always asked questions, and I shut my mouth and I listened. And when I did that, it was good, because sometimes they would tell me stuff I already knew. I didn't tell them, hey, I already know that. Because guess what? When I start doing that, they're going to quit teaching me. And I always had people take me under their wing, teach me how to do business, teach me how to fix cars, beginner's mind. And so you've always had a beginner's mind. You still call me up and ask me questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Yeah, and it's the only way you learn. And I tell my guys that all the time. I'm a resource. I hired you for your skill level, but I didn't hire you expecting that you knew everything about a car. I don't know everything about a car.
No. Every day we're learning something.
But I may know what you don't know. And and if your spidey sense, your gut feelings telling you something's just not right, and you think it's this, all you got to do is reach out.
Right.
You call me. I reach out to my resources.
Right.
Dave, Josh. I call all my friends. I checked my pride a long time ago to be able to learn, to have that beginner's mind of, nope, let me see what he has to say. Even my best tech at Mesa, and when we look at a problem, he calls me all the time. Hey, I need your second opinion. Great, let's go look at it. But what I've noticed is everyone diagnoses a car differently. And between him and I, he's also a dealership trained guy. He's a master technician. But we start at opposite ends of the problem and work the other way, which is great when we're working together on a problem. Because I'm looking at this end, he's looking at that end, and we meet in the middle and we come up with a conclusion, and there's not a car we can't fix together.
It's not. I'm the only guy, but I think that's taken you a long way. So go back to someone who's 16, 18, 22 years old. They're thinking about this business. So you come in, you're washing cars, then you're a lube tech, then another technician, you're picking on his brain with that beginner's mind, and you're kind of interested. So now he invests in you. He's getting some benefit out of it. You're taking the motor apart for him so he doesn't have to. But he takes you under his wing because you got that beginner's mind, and he can see the spark in your eye. You're excited to fix cars. So from there, how did we get to becoming a technician?
And that was exactly it. He took me under his wing, but it was my initiative. That's the first step. Is initiative. He didn't come find me and ask me to take the engine apart.
Right.
I went and found him and said, "Hey, I'm not changing oil. Can I help you?"
Yes.
And he was glad to let me help him.
Yes.
Which he spent a little bit of time with me, but how I got to technician was that engine came back and he showed me to separate the bolts. I put it back together for him. He put it back in.
Right.
Well, next step, he showed me how to take them out.
Okay.
So now I'm taking them out, taking them apart, putting them back together, and then he showed me how to put it back in. I started doing engines for this guy in between changing oil.
And he's probably on flat rate, so at this point, it's becoming beneficial to him,
100%
right?
flat rate. And the time he invested in me, which was very little because I picked it up fast.
Sure.
And once I was done, he'd double check my work, make sure the vacuum hoses were in the right place. And I started doing engines. I started this industry, washing cars, changing oil, and then right to heavy line,
right,
taking engines out, rebuilding them. And the master tech that I apprenticed under and eventually got to apprentice under as I changed oil for 3 months before I proved myself and my initiative and my drive I want to learn more, be better, get better. And they moved me to flat rate at $11 an hour.
Right.
Back in,
I remember those days.
Early 99, making $11 an hour, which was way more than $6 an hour changing oil.
Yes.
I'm like, I just doubled my pay.
Right. So now you're a technician, and I want to talk about how you got into owning an auto shop, and you are a byproduct of a failed economy. So you work in the dealership, and you actually made some rounds. So a little Asian. You worked at Toyota. You worked at Infinity, Chevrolet. Did you ever do Mazda or any other brands?
The last brand I worked at was Mazda, 2008.
Okay.
So I've been wrenching for a decade by then. Again, slowly learning, working my way up, getting ASEs, doing the dealership training, and really putting in the effort, which is what got me to being a master technician. Every dealership has their online classes, their in-person classes, and I worked my way through. I spent most of my career at Chevrolet.
Okay.
And worked my way up to being a world-class technician, which is an ASE master technician, completing all of General Motors online classes, and then completing all of their hands-on classes. And then there's actually a final assessment test that you have to go complete, which is a time test. They bug a car, you got to go find it, you got to show your skills, you got to show your documentation, and you got to run through this problem and follow the trouble chart and find the bug they put in the car, which got me to being a world-class technician. That was, I think, 2007, 2008. And at that time, I was one of 10 in the state because flat rate, I can flag 16 hours a day. But when I went to school, I took a hit and I got paid 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I had to make that personal sacrifice again to grow and be better.
Okay. So you're young and you're aspiring and you want to provide for yourself, make really good money. but I hear you got to have a beginner's mind and you got to know how to sacrifice. And I think people want that instant gratification. Somehow you bypass that. You took the steps to grow yourself, invest in yourself, and investing in yourself, you say, hey, did you go to some big expensive school? No, I didn't. It was on the job. You learned on the job, but in that you had to, instead of spending all the money with the school, you cut down your wage a bit to learn more, to grow into, and I'm sure you passed up plenty of people.
Um, exactly that.
Uh-huh.
You got to slow down to move forward. Slow is fast, and fast is just
Right.
sloppy.
I tell the guys at the shop, hey, we go faster by going slower. You go slower, just it's thought out, it's considered, and that's how you actually move forward versus, just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks is not better.
Yeah, I've done it. I've actually experimented with it because that's the guy I am.
Yeah.
Where same car, I'll just take my time, take the bolts out. I don't drop any sockets. I don't drop any bolts. I just take my time. I put stuff in the bins. I separate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next car, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this one fast. And I'm ripping and tearing, and every other bolt I'm dropping, I got to go pick up. I got to find it out of the engine. And I just pile it all together. I didn't separate it clean enough so it's easier to go back together.
Right.
And not that I can't put it back together, but it takes me twice as long. And then I look back, I'm like, God, I did this other job in an hour and a half, and this one took me 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to jam on it too.
And I was working as fast as I could. And I'm like, man, the other job, I just took my time. I focused on the task at hand, and everything went smooth.
So let me get at this. So I'm young and I'm thinking about this career. It can be done, some dedication. I think it's true of any career. I don't think you're good at anything just by showing up. I mean, showing up is super important. I say there's like 4 keys to like success.
Right.
And that's show up on time, do what you say you're going to do, say please and thank you, and finish what you start. And if you do those 4, you will always have a job, right?
I would add a 5th one to the success part is check the attitude at the door.
Check the attitude at the door. So the ego.
Yeah.
Ego gets expensive. And I got one. It gets expensive,
we
though.
we all have it, but yes,
Keep it at bay.
If you can keep it in check, and like you said, when my guy's teaching me and I'm showing I want to learn, he spent all the time with me to A, benefit me, and B, benefit him at the end.
Right.
But I've worked with guys, and we all have. We've seen them, and you start talking to them, and as soon as you say, so, oh, yeah, it works just like this. And you're like, well, that wasn't what I was saying, but I'm glad you know how it works, so it looks like we're done. Good luck with the car.
Good luck.
Enjoy fixing it. Getting in young, as I keep getting off topic, is the willingness to listen, and the ability to follow directions. And then it's your initiative. You show me that you want to learn. You put in the time.
Initiative, beginner's mind. It'll save you a whole bunch of money. You don't have to spend. I mean, I don't know what it costs to go to UTI. That's the one here in town. Universal Technical Institute. I mean, I think it's 50 grand, 80 grand,
I've
something
heard
like
up
that.
Way more than 50 grand now. Like you
Okay.
might as well go to college and get a degree because you're going to be paying for it for a while.
Yeah, I think it was 50 grand when I was considering it. I thought at some point, I was like, up late at night watching the UTI commercial. I didn't go, and I have some people have gone that way, but then I would say a good majority of the people I work with are on the job. They learned it that way. They just kind of, started as a lube tech, and but you got to start at that bottom end of the totem pole. So I'm going to fast forward. Being a tech, great job. You can do well with it, but you got to be willing to learn, have initiative, all those things. So you're working at the dealership in 2008, and I remember in 2007, 2006, end of 2006 is when I bought this business, and the economy was really good at that time. We all thought we were just going to make a ton of money. Oh my gosh, so good. Look at our house values and all that stuff. And then I bought this business, and then the crackling started to show up on the local economy. And by 2008, it was a train wreck. I mean, so you're working at the Mazda dealership?
I was working at a GMC dealership in North Scottsdale.
Okay.
And I had started playing softball,
Huh.
and again, there's moments in my life I vividly remember.
Uh-huh.
I was out buying a softball bat for my softball team, and the boss calls. He's like, "We need you guys back to the store right now." And you know that gut feeling.
Mm.
You're like, "Oh shit!" You know,
something's wrong.
we've been watching suits walk around the dealership for a week, and it's like, "What's going on?" We're cranking in the shop. We're busy.
Uh-huh.
And we get back to the shop and they're like, "You guys have till 5 o'clock to get your stuff out. We're locking the dealership. We're closed."
Wow.
It's like, what? Like, we're busy. We pushed all the cars out of the bays. You put all the parts in the trunks, whatever it was. You button it up and that's it.
Uh-huh.
We found a trailer, rented a trailer from U-Haul, loaded our box and down the road.
Right.
Well, my boss at the time was also running the Mazda store down in Mesa, which he took me and my buddy. He's like, "You my two best guys. I got a job for you." And I ended up at Mazda, and Mazda is a smaller dealership.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a huge car brand. It's a nice car brand, but it's not huge. It's not well known, and there wasn't enough work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually started doing side jobs, which I hated doing as a technician. I did it all day long. I didn't want to do it all night long.
Right.
I started doing side jobs, and I'm doing more side jobs than dealership work. And I fit the dealership cars in between, but they just didn't have enough for me.
Right. Right.
So I was at the Mazda shop for 9 months. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, you know, my pay went from 80 grand to 30 grand, and I'm making a little on the side, so I'm covering my bills.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine approached me. He's like, "Hey, let's do a shop together." He's like, he sold medical equipment. He's like, "I want to get out of the rat race." And I'm like, "Hey, great. Like, I'm great at fixing cars, but I'm not a business owner. I fix cars. So if you're going to do the front, awesome.
Right.
I'll take care of the back end."
Yeah.
And we got together. We got a business license and filled out the application. And I found it was a 4-bay shop with 2 lifts in it. And we got down to signing the lease, and my friend got cold feet.
Oh, really?
He's like, "Ah, man." He's like, I just can't do it. You know, he's got a family. I don't. It's just me.
Right.
You know, I don't have to take care of anyone. He did, and I understand it. He had to make sure his family was taking care of it. We didn't know where it was going to go. And I was like, "Well, I'm already here. Like, I've already filled out the paperwork. I've come up with the down payment."
Yeah.
And I went for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the end of week 1, I was like, "Oh man, what did I do?" I might have made a mistake here.
Right.
And that's, again, one of those vivid moments in my life that I'm sitting on the little love seat I put in the office to have some furniture in there. And I was like, "Oh man, like I think I screwed up."
Oh, I remember those feelings.
But I was like, "You know what? I'm just going to work hard." And it went back to what got me where I was in the first place.
Right.
I put my head down. I went and scrounged work, and I worked hard, and I worked long, and I worked late.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in 12 to 20-hour days for 2 years, 7 days a week.
Wow.
And I put it all in. Like, this is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the 2 years, I'm like, you know what? I'm working way too hard. I'm going to work 5 days a week.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to enjoy my weekends because this is just killing me.
Right.
I cut back to 5, and the business just took off.
Wow. Okay. And is that currently your Mesa store?
That is currently my Mesa store.
So your Mesa store, you're there. I have not been to your Mesa store. I've been to your Gilbert. I've been to your grand opening at Santan, and so I have not been to the Mesa store, but I do want to get by there and check it out because it's 4 bays, and then it seems like that expanded, and now you've got even a more shop to it. So you took down more and more of the building.
Yeah, when I moved into the Mesa shop, there's actually 3 different shops there.
Mm-hmm.
The west side of the parking lot was a 6-bay shop.
Mm-hmm.
The north end of my building was a 3-bay shop, and then I rented the 4 bays in the front.
Okay.
So there was actually 3 of us, and my neighbors grew. I'll give them a shout out. Porter Built. They make custom parts for lowering Ford and Chevy trucks.
Right.
And we became really good friends almost as fast as you and I did, Dave.
Right.
Like, I just click with people that have like mind and the business ethic that I've grown to want and desire. And they grew and they got huge. And they moved out and got a bigger shop, and so I took over their 3 bays.
Right.
Because I was growing at the same time. You know, I started with 2 lifts, and then when I could afford it, I bought a used one and put a 3rd one in, and then when I could afford it, I put a 4th one in, and in between there, I hired an apprentice, and then I hired a front guy, and just slowly kind of grew, and then we bought released out the other half of the building, so I had 7 bays, and I cut the wall out in the middle, and then I kept putting in bays, and eventually I put in my own alignment rack, and because I like doing my own work. You know, I don't like subletting to the dealership down the road to do my alignment, because, you know, there's a whole level with alignments. You know, green is good. Oh, your alignment's perfect, but you know, this wheel's got positive camber and this wheel's got negative camber, but it's still in spec.
Shows up green, but it ain't right.
You know, green is just in spec. It doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
And I started seeing those come back from the place I was taking my alignments. I'm like, I need my own rack.
Right.
I want to do my own stuff. I was trained on it. I knew how to do it.
Right.
So I just bought a piece at a time to build the business. And I did. I kept putting everything back in. I didn't get oh my God, look at all the money I'm making. And I just sunk it all back into H I Automotive.
Yeah.
You know, that was my baby. That was
right.
What I had made the commitment to make work.
So we're running out of time here, but so I'm going to kind of fast forward you a little bit. So Mesa, in the whole point here is like you scoffed a little bit about being an auto mechanic when the people came in your high school, and you're like, yeah, right, you know, and then you became an auto mechanic, and then you scoffed at owning a business. And here you are, you own a business. And so, but there's just a constant forward progress. And I think that's the way life works and the universe happens. And you know, it's like some of the things that I do, I'm like, no way, never going to happen. Or something comes up that I don't like. You probably didn't like losing your job. But it's those things that force us to change and move us along. And we may not like it at first, but then we keep going. And I know a lot of shop owners. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to a lot of people, and you are a unique unicorn guy as far as the way you run the business. And you and I, you know, we keep in touch, and then we also run around with Josh Dana from Dana Brothers, and you know, but I see some of the same trends. You know, like you say, the people that you hang out with, you find people that you got commonality with, and that have the same value system as you. And that's who you choose to rub shoulders with. People, you know, for me, I can always say beginner's mind. That's why I see it in you. So if you spot it, chances are you got it. And so you're always open and learning. And so that is impressive to me. But you got H&I Mesa, and you went a lot of years. How many years before you opened your second shop, which is Gilbert?
So Mesa just turned 16.
Okay.
Gilbert is 8 years old.
Wow. Yeah, so that's when.
As crazy as it is, my Queen Creek location is a year old in a couple weeks.
Wow, happens pretty quick.
Time is flying by.
And you're the brainchild behind it. You've got some great partners that support you, and that's I think that you kind of had to permeate. I mean, there's only so much one guy can do, so you have to find people that are as vested as you are in the business and the success of it. And your ability to work with people is something that I think is outstanding. I think you have a good balance of ego and also working with people. You know, like we talked about, keep your ego in check. If it's out of control, people aren't going to work with you. But at the same time, you still have to have an ego to go and get things done. And so it's a good mix of that. And I mean, I'm really proud to know you. I'm proud to have you here on the podcast, and to continue. You know, how many more years will this go? You know, that we're fixing cars. I don't see myself changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I love what I do, and that's the drive behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I scoffed at it in the beginning, I found that being a mechanic, being a technician, fixing cars, owning a business, it hits that part of my brain that I like that
The
growth
sweet spot.
part.
The sweet spot.
It
Yeah.
it makes me happy to find a problem that 3 shops have passed on to me, and we diagnose it and fix it, and it's what keeps me going.
Right. For me, I thought out of high school I wanted to be an auto mechanic, so that was one thing I chose. I also thought, well, my dad's a businessman, maybe I want to be a businessman. So I thought I wanted that, and then I also thought I wanted to teach. And essentially, I got all three. So for me, I sort of knew the direction I was going, but I in this I got all three, and it makes you say it hits that part of your brain that really satisfies your purpose every day waking up. So. Glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us here on the Bumper to Bumper podcast. If you are considering becoming a automotive technician, this is an example of the route that you can take to get there. You don't have to go sign up for some big expensive school, but you can wash cars in the wintertime and get cold, crispy hands, and then graduate to taking engines apart.
Right? Cold hands, warm oil.
Easy change to make. We'll see you next time.
Definitely. Thank you.
Well, hello, I'm Dave Riccio, your host of the Bumper to Bumper podcast, and I would like to thank you for tuning in. If you want one of your car questions to be answered on our podcast, tap the link in the description for a chance to have your question featured. And while you are there, we would love for you to like and subscribe to see more Bumper to Bumper podcasts in the future.